The first time my brother, Darren, asked me for help, he was crying on the phone. And Darren never cried. Not even when Mom died, not even when he lost his job, not even when he got arrested for borrowing a friend's car. He'd always been slick, the kind of guy who could charm his way out of anything. But that night, his voice cracked through the receiver like something inside him had finally broken. Harper, I swear, it's not what it looks like. I just need a signature. That's it. You're my only shot. My stomach twisted. A signature for what? He paused. Too long. Just a small private loan. A few grand. I can't get approved myself because of my record. But you've got good credit, right? They just need a cosigner. It's for my auto shop idea. You know, the one I've been planning for years. He always had a new dream. A bar, a gym, a crypto thing, a consulting firm. Every one of them crashed harder than the last. Still, he was my brother, my only brother. And growing up, we'd only had each other. So, yeah, I said yes. Biggest mistake of my life. The loan papers came through email from some private lender called Kingsley Finance Group. It looked official enough. Sleek logo, legal jargon, a smiling agent named Cole Madrix who called me personally to walk me through it. Cole sounded professional, charming even. The kind of man who probably wore too much cologne and smiled while lying. It's just a short-term arrangement, he told me, voice smooth like silk over gravel. $30,000 secured against Mr. Darren Cook's projected business assets. You're simply a guarantor. Pure formality. I remember that phrase exactly. Pure formality. I didn't even think twice. I signed, scanned, and sent it back. A week later, Darren was off the radar. No texts, no calls, no posts. Just vanished, like smoke in the wind. Then came the emails. Miss Cook, we've been unable to reach the primary borrower. As guarantor, you are now responsible for the outstanding balance of $38,250, including accrued interest and penalties. My hands went cold. I called. I yelled. I begged. Cole just sighed. I understand this is difficult, Miss Cook, but as stated in the contract you signed, you are legally liable for repayment. When I demanded proof, he sent the contract back, with my signature on every page. Only, the pages didn't match the ones I remembered signing. There were new clauses, hidden fees, a balloon payment clause that would triple the balance if not repaid within 60 days. It was a trap. A goddamn trap. I tried to find Darren. Tracked his last known location through mutual friends, old contacts, even his ex, Tessa, who worked at a tattoo shop downtown. When she saw me walk in, her eyes said everything before her mouth did. Harper, I told him this would blow back on you. My stomach turned to concrete. So you knew? She nodded, biting her lip. He said he'd fix it before it reached you, that it was just a temporary cover. He swore he'd handle it. He used my name, I said, shaking, and now I'm being sued. Tessa looked away. You should probably talk to a lawyer. No apology, no guilt, just detachment, like I was a side effect. By the time I found a lawyer, Kingsley Finance Group had already filed a civil claim against me. I owed 42 grand I didn't have. I maxed out my cards, borrowed from my 401k, and sold my car, just to keep them from garnishing my wages. I'd never felt more humiliated in my life. I, Harper Cook, the responsible sibling, the one who paid bills on time, who never missed work, who never broke the rules, had been played like a rookie. And Darren? Gone. I started having nightmares. Him laughing while I signed, his smirk fading into Cole's rehearsed smile. That's when something inside me shifted. Grief turned to anger. Anger turned to clarity. And clarity? That turned into strategy. I pulled out the original email chain, every message between me, Cole, and Darren. Then I started noticing things I'd missed. The loan documents had metadata, digital timestamps. And hidden in those timestamps were edit logs, changes made after my signature date. Cole had modified the contract after I signed it. Fraud. Textbook fraud. And if I could prove it, I could burn him. Legally, completely, publicly. I spent the next 2 weeks living in spreadsheets, metadata logs, and recorded calls. I didn't sleep much, didn't eat right, but every late-night rabbit hole gave me a new breadcrumb. One evening, I was scrolling through an old email thread when I found something I hadn't seen before, a forwarded message from Cole to a third address. It wasn't Darren, it was someone named R. Lang. Attached was my contract. The subject line, Cook Agreement, Adjusted Copy. Adjusted. My pulse hammered in my ears. I traced the IP address using a friend in cybersecurity, Mara, who owed me a favor. She didn't ask many questions, just sent me the location. It pinged back to a high-rise office suite downtown, Suite 912, Kingsley Finance Group. I went there myself the next morning, walked right through the glass doors, wearing a blazer and heels, pretending to be the kind of woman who belonged in a place like that. The receptionist looked up. Appointment? Yeah, I lied. With Cole Madrix. Her eyes darted nervously. Oh, he's in a meeting right now. Then I'll wait. I sat for 40 minutes, watching people walk in and out, slick suits, fake smiles, the whole corporate jungle vibe. Finally, Cole emerged from a glass office, laughing with a man in a navy suit. When he saw me, the color drained from his face. Miss Cook, he said, recovering fast. What a surprise. I stood. We need to talk. His smile flickered. Perhaps we should... now. He led me into his office, shut the door, and exhaled like I'd just ruined his weekend plans. What's this about? You forged my contract. He blinked. That's a serious accusation. Not as serious as email metadata or the message you sent to R. Lang titled Adjusted Copy. He froze, just for a second, but I caught it. I have everything, I said quietly. Every altered clause, every timestamp. You changed the contract after I signed it. He forced a chuckle. You must be mistaken. I'm not. He stared at me, calculating. Then he smiled. Slow, smug. You could file a complaint, sure, but you'd lose. We've got lawyers on retainer who eat fraud claims for breakfast. You think the court cares about a few metadata inconsistencies? It's your signature that matters, Miss Cook. Yours. And just like that, I knew he wasn't scared. Not yet. But he would be. That night, I made my move. I filed a complaint, not with civil court, but with the State Financial Fraud Bureau. Then I sent an anonymous tip to a journalist at the Herald Tribune, including every document, every timestamp, and the internal email from Cole. Within 48 hours, the story broke. Private lender under investigation for document forgery and fraudulent loan practices. Cole's photo, smiling smugly at a networking gala, sat under the headline. It spread like wildfire. The article mentioned multiple victims, doctored contracts, and a pattern of predatory lending behavior. I didn't even have to name myself. The case details matched perfectly. My phone buzzed nonstop for 2 days. Messages from unknown numbers, reporters asking for quotes, people claiming they'd been scammed too. And then came the cherry on top, a call from Cole's legal team. They wanted to settle. I met them in a downtown conference room with my lawyer, Evelyn Stokes, a woman so sharp she could slice through lies just by breathing. Cole wasn't there, of course. Cowards rarely are. His lawyer slid a document across the table. A full settlement, Miss Cook. $50,000 for damages, non-disclosure agreement included. Evelyn smiled faintly. Double damages. That's the law for fraud. You're offering half. They squirmed. She didn't blink. By the end of the meeting, I walked out with a signed agreement for $84,000, plus a formal withdrawal of all claims against me. Cole? He got fired the next week. The company dissolved a month later. And Darren, my brother, he called one night. His number popped up on my screen, and for the first time in my life, I didn't answer. It's strange. The silence after revenge. It's not the high people imagine. It's quieter, heavier, but freeing. Sometimes, late at night, I'll think about that call, about how easy it would have been to pick up, to let him talk, to let him say sorry, to let him pull me back into that endless spiral of forgiveness and regret. But then I remember the courtroom, the forged signature, the debt collectors pounding on my door. And I remember how he'd slept just fine while I drowned. So no, I didn't answer. I moved cities, changed my number, built something new. I even started consulting for a fraud prevention nonprofit, teaching other people how to spot the red flags I'd ignored. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: family doesn't always mean loyalty, and trust, once broken, isn't something you rebuild, it's something you bury. Darren used my name to ruin me. Cole used my signature to rob me. But I used their greed to destroy them both. And I sleep damn well now. In the end, revenge didn't look like a grand explosion or dramatic showdown. It looked like quiet paperwork, cold evidence, and the sound of a liar's career crumbling before the cameras. That's the thing about people like them. They always think they're smarter. They always think no one will fight back, until they meet someone who knows how to turn silence into strategy. And that's exactly what I did.
You've just stepped into her revenge side, where every wound finds its justice, and every silence ends with truth. If her story struck a chord, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. Another secret waits in the next video. See how her revenge begins.